happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dove. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Well, JJ Wang, we're recording this on Easter, so happy Easter. Hopefully you have lots of eggs and jelly beans and things going on, or you're a healthy nut, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I mean I still eat a little bit of chocolate, but I don't necessarily celebrate Easter as much as we used to. My daughter being a little older, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, so I've been naughty. I've been visiting family this weekend, in-laws and my parents, and I gotta
Yeah,
hide the candy.
I didn't do any of that this weekend. I really didn't visit anybody. I kind of feel bad now that you're just talking about it. Thanks, man.
Day's
Appreciate that.
day's still young. Day's still young. We're recording early. You can get on the road. But the couple things. Got some good news for this week. I'd mentioned a while back that I got into the Scott Fish Bowl. It's official. I am in the Scott Fish Bowl. I signed up to join the Washington Sentinel. You get to pick your division and your draft spot.
Oh man.
So I was like, and I wanted to do a live draft so desperately, but summer is just a hot mess because there's one in DC, which would have been cool. So I signed up to join the Washington Sentinels division with the fourth draft spot. The Washington Sentinels are the fake team from the movie The Replacements. So I chose that one because my wife is actually in the movie. She was she got to be in the bleacher stands
Oh nice.
for one of the games when she was younger. So it's a while back. And then I chose the fourth spot, looking at it, going like basically you're looking. You got the two big receiver. You got Chase and Jefferson. Then you got Barkley and Bijan. So knowing that I got one of those four guys guaranteed on my first team, but with the fourth, I'll get the least of them, and then I get back around, I get a better pick than if I wanted to get really adventurous and go with Chase early, you know.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not a bad spot. Yeah, that's something you've been talking about for a long time. I mean, pretty much ever since we started doing this. I'm not really as into it as you are, but yeah, I'm glad you finally got into it.
It's been a dream. Makes me feel like we're official. Like I'll make the team name. We'll probably be the Fantasy Couriers or something like that. Just so it pops some get some pop there on for us. I did see our girl Gridiron Goddess got an invite as well. So I'm hoping that doing this will keep it a regular thing. But I think it's a year to year because I got in through that underdog contest is what I believe. But I was like, yeah. So the draft's like in July. So I'll give updates once we go through it. Once we get to July, um, but yeah, I mean, really, the news this week is the draft is coming up, so we're gonna have a boat ton to talk about coming up in the next couple of weeks. Really, it's been a little bit of this, a little bit of that. The probably the biggest news is Aaron Rodgers is being Aaron Rodgers. So, quick prediction before we get into what we're going to talk about today: does Aaron Rodgers play NFL football in 2025?
I mean, I think he plays. I just doesn't. I just don't think he wants to do the whole training camp thing. I just don't think he wants to be anywhere near any of that stuff. So I think he's going to hold out pretty much as long as he possibly can until a team. I mean, Pittsburgh's still going to need a quarterback. Even if they Pittsburgh even does draft a quarterback, it's not like they're really that reliable to where they can just jump in right away. But yeah, I just don't think he wants to do a training camp, and that I just think he's going to sign as late as he possibly can. It's a douche move, but Aaron Rodgers is a douche character, and that's just how he rolls. But I mean, he's been in the NFL a long time. I would say he kind of deserves this, kind of deserves being able to do what he wants. But especially after the last couple of years he has, at this point, beggars really can't be choosers. He hasn't really played all that great, but yeah, I mean, he's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to do what he wants, and he doesn't really care anything after that.
Yeah, that I mean, Pittsburgh seems to be the only last option, but I don't know if he said he wants to win, and I just don't see Pittsburgh being a team that he helps over. And if he drags it out too far, he's basically going to be just like the Jets light because
I mean,
you're building repertoire
I
with
mean,
your.
if you could get Aaron Rodgers to be any resemblance of what he was towards like at some point in his Green Bay career,
I don't though.
Pitts- Pittsburgh could definitely be one of those teams that could make a run. I mean, they always have a pretty solid defense. Their wide receivers are the wide receivers are good enough. They always find a running game, and if they can just find a quarterback that's good enough, I mean, because they always end up winning 9 or 10 games, and any better quarterback can get them to the 11 and 12 mark. I definitely think he could help the Pittsburgh. Like I said, I just don't know how good he's going to be.
Yeah, I got a better option for you coming up in a couple minutes here, so I'm not going to get into that. But I think, and I think he's going to play somewhere. I think he's going to give in because he wants to see, because he's Aaron Rodgers, like you said earlier. I think pretty much. But anyway, I don't want to talk about him
Also,
anymore.
real quick, did you see the rumor that AJ Brown could be traded
Oh
for the
yes,
number 4 pick for the Patriots? AJ Brown going to the Patriots and the Eagles trying to jump up to get, I guess, number 4.
they want the
Did you
D
see
end
that?
right
Yeah, they want that at
out of Penn State.
out of Penn
Spring.
State. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be there. I mean, it would take Shador Sanders probably ended up going in the top 3 for that guy to fall to 4. But I think it'd be pretty interesting move for the Patriots. It's definitely this need a wide receiver pretty bad. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that, to be honest, I like it for AJ Brown.
Yeah,
Like I think I like it for AJ Brown. I like it for Devonta Smith. I think Hurts stays level because of the mobility and what he is as a quarterback. Like it would make Smith more valuable. I mean, they'll draft a one. They could. There's probably some guys they can pick up off the streets, or they could say, "Hey, throw us in some warm body receiver for the way the system is set up." But it would give Drake May a solid receiver there, and I don't think
well,
it.
I mean, I feel like it's more of more than just a solid receiver. I mean, he's been pretty legitimate. Well, when
Yeah.
he's been as long as he's been healthy, there have been times when he gets hurt, but as long as he's on the outside, I mean, he's been a pretty legitimate threat. And I think honestly, I think Drake May is a better throwing quarterback than
Mhm.
Jalen Hurts is. I mean, that could probably work out in favor for both of them. And I know the Patriots defense isn't all that great, but at least you get a weapon for your wide receiver, and that's kind of important at this moment.
I think yeah, I don't think you. Some people would think it might. You might hear them say it'll take a hit, but
I think
I
it's
think AJ Brown it'll be a lateral move. He'll still be a top
Yeah, I
five,
mean, I,
10
th- I
quarterback
think
receiver.
this move would make them better than they were last year. I mean, they won 4 games last year. I think this could probably help them, in 6 or 7 games. The defense get a little better. I know that Vrabel's their coach. He's way better coach. I think he can upgrade just by being the coach. So
Yeah,
I think it would help both teams.
kind of sad that Gerard Mayo ended up being a just the team went kaputs on him. Like but we don't. I don't know. I don't know him as a player. He was a beast. So it's one of those
It doesn't
things.
work out
So
for everybody, man.
yeah, I mean, it's recently the new trend is be a linebacker and you get to be a good coach. So I think of all the they get down to Houston, you got up there. It seems to be the trend of what's going on as they're doing it. So I'm uploading information, trying to stall here for a second because my thing just froze. Anyway, so today what we're going to talk about is as the draft is coming up. There are some guys that are extremely nervous right now as the draft is coming up, and a lot of them tend to be running backs. We're gonna do a handful of running backs because this running back class, it's probably where the fantasy power is in this running back as a big gulp. So, like the fact that there could be some guy that you're drafting second round that could take over some dude's job is a total possibility. Whereas receivers, there, nobody is coming out going, "Oh my gosh, there's the next Chase or Jefferson," but they are looking at
Well,
some running backs
well,
going, "These are
Well,
smaller."
that and there's just so many receiving slots available. I mean,
For sure.
receivers go out there, 3 or 4 receivers on each team can be pretty relevant. And running back spots, I mean, I feel like it might have come back a little bit last year, but there's only so many running backs that can actually be productive in a game or in a season. So, one receiver coming onto a team isn't really going to make that much of a difference for the overall look. But one running back joining that running back room, I mean, that could just upset the balance of the whole run game.
Oh yeah, 100%. Okay, so we're gonna start. I got a low hanging fruit that I know you won't like at all. Then two questions about quarterbacks. Then we're gonna jump into running backs. So first overall pick in the draft, I think it's pretty much Cam Ward, right?
Yeah, probably.
Do the Titans? So Will Levis is sort of, you're not a Will Levis fan, but Will Levis is a probably NFL caliber backup.
It's debatable.
Zach Wilson is. My notes here say reference Zach Wilson. So Will
Okay,
Levis,
yeah, yeah, maybe. I don't
they're
think
both terrible.
Zach Wilson's debatable too, but
Yeah, but Zach Wilson landed basically the most likely to play backup quarterback job in the NFL, which is Tua's backup. So Although they're saying the Dolphins might draft the quarterback in rounds 2 through 4. But Will Levis, is he so he knows, he sees the writing on the wall. He played crappy last year. After the first game, everybody knows I love Will Levis. Is he a Titan? And well, do you think they're going to keep him as a Titan and let him take some lumps, or they're going to throw Cam Ward in day one, right?
No, I definitely think they put Cam Ward in there because I think Cam Ward is already better than Will Levis. I don't think there's gonna be that much of a quarterback controversy going on there. And I think Will Levis ends up staying. Because I don't know who's really going to trade for Will Levis. I mean, who really is got it has an itch for Will Levis as their backup quarterback. So I think he ends up staying in Tennessee. Um, he might. I mean, if Kim Ward goes down, he can. He might get some play. But I mean, that's the only way. I think Kim Ward would. I don't care really how bad he plays. I don't think he's gonna play that bad to where they bench him for um, Will Levis.
Will
So
Levis, no.
yes, I think he.
Will they clean him out as far? Do you think he'll be Will Levis? Will Will Levis be a Titan this time next week? Should he be nervous about having to get a new apartment?
I think he'll stay a Titan. I mean, like you said, I mean, if a backup, sure. I think Will Levis might actually be a backup to where he can come in and like show a spark for a game or a half or something like that. But it's when he's got to play multiple games in a row seems to be when he has trouble. So yeah, I think he stays.
So I mean, I could see him being traded drafted. I think it because I'm of the opposite thought. Because you look at like what's happened, like when Josh Rosen, he was terrible, but they drafted oh gosh, I just lost his name.
Kyler Murray, right?
Thanks, Kyler Murray. And they're like, hey, we want to get him out of there because he was there and we want to just start afresh. So I could see, I don't know, Will Levis, I see his name and it just says Dallas Cowboys all over me. I don't know why. He just seems like he
I
could
don't
be a
know
Cowboy.
why.
I don't know. There's just, it's no reason, nothing I've read at all. So anyway, guys that should be nervous. Well, one guy doesn't have a job, but jobs could get more scarce. And the reason this is the guy that I think could keep Aaron Rodgers out of the league. That's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins to the Steelers makes sense to me. He's always, I always called him our like middle of the line quarterback. He's what the Steelers want. He's not going to be a diva. I mean, is there that much of a difference? I mean, millions of dollars to be honest, unless they trade, which I heard he might get cut. So we'll see what happens. But is there that much of a difference between a 5 years younger Kirk Cousins and a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers and all the crap that comes with him?
Not really. I don't think. I was like I said, Kirk Cousins wasn't very impressed. I mean, both of them were coming off of the injury. Both of them kind of look like crap. I mean, really, the only difference is kind of like the attitude and the mental stability of each one. Kirk Cousins is a little more reserved, doesn't talk as much. But I have heard Kirk Cousins could be quite the diva if he wanted to be. He's just not as open as Rodgers. But I mean, honestly, I'd probably prefer to take it. I'd probably prefer Aaron Rodgers. I'd probably take my chance with Rodgers than I would with Cousins. I think Cousins just I was just looked bad enough last year that I don't know if I really want to take a shot with him. Definitely not trading for him. Um, Atlanta would have to eat up a lot of that money if they wanted me to trade for Kirk Cousins. Um, Maybe if they cut him, I can catch him on the cheap. Sure. I can't imagine they'd have to pay Aaron Rodgers a lot of money either, even the way he's been playing. But honestly, I think I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers. I'd probably take the stab at Aaron Rodgers before I would Kirk Cousins.
See, I'm the opposite. I'll take Kirk Cousins. I don't want to deal with the crap. And it seems like a Pittsburgh move to take a lynch pill kind of guy versus I mean, they keep picking. So could you imagine Pickens dealing with Rodgers? The just the that has hard knocks written all over it. That's
Yeah,
all
I
I'm
mean,
gonna say.
I would say it definitely wouldn't be pretty, but I think Steelers fans would be pretty upset after having to watch Kirk Cousins play after a couple weeks.
I mean, maybe he bounces back. I mean, Cousins up until the Achilles. I mean, he had a solid 9-10 years of play from those last couple of years in Washington to so it's, but I mean, to me, it seems like potatoes, and it comes down to the money you're having to pay towards that. Oh, it's awesome. My computer is being super kind to me. So we'll see how we get through this show. Um, there are a gajillion quarterbacks in New York. Who will be left standing as a New York Giants quarterback by the end of this week. So they got Jameis, they got Russell, and they still have Tommy DeVito. And there's talk of them drafting Shador, or if they don't draft Shador, drafting one of the extra guys in the second round. Who is not a New York Giant by the end of the week or by next week?
I think Russell Wilson's pretty safe. I can't imagine. I mean, I don't know why you would even really keep Tommy DeVito. I mean, he's a dreadful quarterback. I mean, I think if you do end up drafting Sanders, you'd probably get rid of Jameis because there's really not a need for a Jameis at that point. If you didn't want to play, if Russell Wilson got hurt, Tommy DeVito can fill in okay. If you didn't want to play Sanders, I think Sanders could jump in and play just as well as Jameis. I think he'd be more. I think he'd probably be a better quarterback than Jameis. He'd turn the ball over less than Jameis. I would think. So yeah, I would think that the biggest threat would be Jameis Winston.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I have a feeling. I mean, maybe they just totally punt quarterback with what they've signed and say they'll build everything else. I don't know. We'll see. But
Yeah,
let's stick with. Oh,
I mean that's possible too. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't draft a quarterback.
build inside out, get the D end out of Penn State, or take Hunter. I mean, Neighbors looked good last year with you and me as quarterbacks. So let's see how they go. But let's stay in New York. Let's get into this. Is the running back class. And the name that's popping up most recently that people are petrified for is Tyrone Tracy. He came out. People know we love some Tyrone Tracy. I was on the bandwagon first. Drug you along with me. And he had a decent.
I would beg to differ on that. By the way,
But you were with me the whole way.
I'm pretty sure I was on the bandwagon first, but it doesn't matter.
We love some Tyrone. We love some. Well, then we'll just all love Tyrone Tracy. That's
I mean, I love Tyrone Tracy.
Tyrone Tracy's problem that's scaring people right now is that he will be 26 in November. So he was a 24, and his birthday's in November. So Thanksgiving basically is when he turns 26. So he turned 25 the last Thanksgiving, making him an old guy in NFL, which I'm still trying to figure out the fear of that, because the age, people are worried about the tread. So his name's come up. They're like, the Giants got enough draft capital. They're going to draft a running back. So Tyrone Tracy, should he as a player, should we as owners, and should the world be nervous about Tyrone Tracy being the lead back in New York, or go, hey, they've got so many needs? Tyrone Tracy, he played great last year. 4.4 yards per attempt is pretty stinking money for a terrible team, that they're just going to run him down. And he is 26. He's still a young guy compared to us without a lot of tread. So how do you feel about Tracy, and are you nervous?
You've always got to be a little nervous when it comes to a running back like him. He was drafted a little later, of course, a little older. I think he's safe enough to where the Giants don't spend a lot of capital on running back, but I believe they will bring in a running back. As long as he plays well and doesn't fumble, I think he's going to be safe. I think he's going to play okay, and I think he'll be safe for at least one more year. But they will bring in some competition. But I mean, if he's having a few bad games as like maybe he gets like a fumbling problem, then absolutely. But yeah, I think you got to be a little nervous when it comes to a player like Tyron Tracy, kind of like the James Robinson theory. James Robinson had like a great 2 years, and then it just kind of fell off the boat, just kind of fell off the rockers a little bit. So I mean, very possible. But I think right now he's before the season starts, I think he's safe. But I mean, things can go bad quickly.
He's fifth round draft capital means they got nothing invested in him, but it
Yeah.
also means they got a cheap, warm body to get pounded in the middle of the lines they go through. So it's, but this being said, like, I agree with you. I think they'll get someone, but I mean, my nerve scale apparently is not as bad as the others, which means I'll probably get stuck holding the bag. But I think there's a nerve, but I don't think it's as big as I see the community just going. They're going bonkers in fear. So I got three guys here who are a little older, and I can pull up. I don't have my screens. I just had to. We took a pause when we were recording everybody because my computer's not happy today. But we're looking at Javonte Williams. with Dallas. He signed with Dallas this year, and there's always rumors of Dallas drafting a running back, and it's Dallas. That's what they do. They draft something that doesn't make total sense for them when they need something else. We got ETN down in Jacksonville, who has sort of fallen off, and Tank looked really good last year, and they might draft a running back because why not? It's a great class. And then we got Ramondre up in New England. They want to build around Drake May, but they have invested money. So we're looking at Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne, and Ramondre Stevenson. Of those guys, you can rank them. You can say if you're scared of a guy, if there's a guy you're like, I'm not too worried about. How do you feel about any of those guys, all of those guys as you're going in?
I mean, I'm not really feeling good about any of them. Javonte Williams has never really panned out. He is coming to Dallas, so he at least he'll get some opportunity. So he'll get his opportunity to play. I mean, if you need a dark horse running back, I mean that might be the guy. But I'm considering his career, I'm definitely not putting much into that bag there. Ramondre, I'm kind of scared about too. I mean, he had that great year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Then last year just looked looked bad. It just wasn't great for him at all. So I'm not really too excited about him. I tried to get off the boat, jump off the boat on that guy too. And then ETN, just something about it scares me. Like with Tank Bigsby there, so they've got another running back that could easily take snaps away. Last year, was definitely probably the worst season of his career. Jacksonville has to be looking for something, to get that team moving. Like I said, I think they bring in another running back, and I think ETN owners should be the biggest warrior out of this bunch because I'm not sure that he's going to have that workload that he's had in the past because he just really hasn't panned out. That like the way we thought it would. So I think the biggest worry with the amount that you kind of got to pay for ETN or where you think he's been over the last few years. I think that's the biggest worry right there. 'Cause I think, like I said, I think they're going to bring in somebody else and just more competition in that room.
Yeah, I tend to agree there. I think ETM might be my biggest fear because Javante, they signed him and then they just brought over Dallas. I'll think of it while I'm talking. I had it on the tip of my tongue and then I just froze. But I think they got him on the cheap and they're kind of like where the Giants are. I don't think they're going to invest quite yet, even though Jerry always thinks he can win. He always thinks they can win, but I don't know about that. Um, that they'll build up with him. Ramondre, I'm actually the least amount of fearful. Mainly, I've got $6 million in dead cap reasons to think they're not going to let a running. I mean, he might be in the next 2 years. I don't know if you want him. I mean, next year he's a 7.6. He might dump next year, but this year it's $6 million in dead cap for Ramondre. Next year it's 3. So I have a feeling that they're good. That Ramondre, I'm not too worried about.
I mean, it's not the fact that they're going to let him go. It's the fact that they could bring in other running backs that could be better than Ramondre and him not play. I mean, he could still be on the team. He's just not going to get the workload that he has in the past because he just hasn't. I'm not going to say he hasn't earned it, but he just hasn't looked good enough to be like that starting running back caliber type player.
Miles Sanders, by the way, is the other guy. I'm not worried about him in Dallas, but I don't know if they'll want to, and maybe they will, and then get some tread on some kid. But I think he's the one I'm least worried, and I have a feeling that Javante will. He could be him and Najee are two guys that I'll probably end up having a lot of on my team as we as the year goes on because they're going to be cheaper and I think they both have opportunities. Najee I think is a lot higher. So yeah, I'm not as scared about Ramondre, but it could be because I like him. But then if you look at, I mean, ETN, he's older than Tyrone Tracy. He just has the couple years that he's played as well. So it'll be interesting. Okay, so that's why you mentioned Brian Robinson, so I'll let you throw him out there while you're a little. Why you think Brian Robinson should be a little nerve? Why you're worried about our boy Brian Robinson? We both love him.
Well, kind of the same reasons. I mean, he came in as a little older, so he is a little older of a running back. Last year when Eckler was there, he started to lose some work to Eckler. Of course, Eckler got hurt. Then Brian Robinson was able to get the job back. I mean, Chris Rodriguez was in there. He was taking some work. I'm not saying he's going to lose his job completely, but I think there's going to be opportunity for another running back to come in and steal some snaps. That's going to hurt Brian Robinson's value because I mean he was an RB2. It was RB2 last year. It's not going to take much for a running back to come in and still enough work to where Brian Robinson might just end up being like maybe a flex guy every week that you don't even know if you could be starting him. So that's what makes me worry a little bit. They want to revamp that offense, and right now, if you're looking at it, they brought in some offensive line help, so they bolstered the offensive line. They brought in some wide receiver help, so they bolstered the wide receivers, and the running back is the weakest part of the team right now. So maybe if drafting a running back into the second, third, fourth round, I think that'd be definitely good enough to, try to bring some competition to Brian Robinson and possibly could bring some um, uh, bring in some like more like a flashier, like a faster type running back that can catch the ball. And Brian Robinson is just a pounder, so it's not like you can't really replace that. I mean, somebody that can get to the outside a little faster. I think his
Yeah.
job could be easily replaced, and he could be in a little bit of trouble.
You mentioned him before the show, and I was not buying it, and then now I'm kind of like, as you keep talking, I was like, man,
Yeah,
yeah, that's where they're building. I mean, do you know that Brad Robinson every year of his career has had 700 something yards? He had 797, 733, 799. It's like, wow, you're
but
consistently in the 700s.
yeah. So I mean, it's not like he's been that good
Mhm.
to have to be like he's the surefire number one RB on that team. I think there definitely can be somebody else that can come in and steal some snaps, maybe a lot
Did
of
I
snaps.
mention he's 26?
Yeah,
That's
he's a
our
little
name
older.
today. 26-year old. So the wide receiver landscape in the draft isn't anything extraordinary, but guys come out of nowhere. No one saw the Puka Nakua explosion, the Amon-Ra St. Brown explosion. A couple of those guys that have come out the last couple of years that sort of snuck in. Puka came in on a Rams team where you thought he was just going to be a dude, unless you're me. Everybody knows I love some Puka. But but a couple guys I'm going to toss out. Tell me what do you think the likelihood is that someone might take their job? None of these are your number ones. Like we're not worried about Chase. I mean that Bengals offense is going to be spectacular. They got them for a couple of years. We're not worried about Jefferson. Those kind of guys. We're looking at a couple second, maybe third, possible flex guys or guys that you might roster just because of opportunity. So here we go, speed round because we are getting towards the end here. Jacoby Myers with the Raiders. He's been basically sort of a consistent kind of I'm going to say wide receiver 3, maybe a 2 every blue moon for us because he's really the only guy in town not named Brock Bowers. They got to draft a receiver, right? How nervous are you about Jacoby Myers with the mighty Geno Smith?
I mean, oh well, just the fact that he's got Geno Smith. I mean, it's got to make you a little nervous. But like Kobe, I mean, nervous. I'm not really sure because I don't know really what I expect out of Jacoby Myers anyway. I don't know if I really expect much more than a possible flex play every week. I'm not
Dude's
really
had
relying
800
a lot.
yards the last three
Not,
years and then 1,000
yeah,
yards.
I'm not really relying a lot on Jacoby Myers. Of course, if they bring somebody in, absolutely, that's going to hurt. So you got to be nervous that they're going to bring somebody in for some competition because they really. But I mean, it's Jacoby Myers. I'm not really all that excited about him anyway. I think I might have him here or there on a team. But if I'm having to rely on Jacoby Myers for any parts of my team, I mean, in my wide receiver room, I feel like I'd be struggling anyway.
I looked, I was like, I didn't realize he was actually as not terrible as I thought he was. Like
Yeah,
he's not a
he's not
touchdown, like
he's
866,
not
804, 807, 1027. I was like,
he's not terrible. I mean, he's a decent wide receiver, kind of like Brian Robinson's a decent running back. Like it's not going to take much for a player to come in and kind of make him irrelevant.
because it's looking, was he back? I mean, last year he had 1,000 yards, but he had 4 touchdowns. But that was that Raiders team. Will it be better with Carroll? So he's one that I think he'll be okay. I don't see them going high enough. They're going to invest probably in Genty, which will affect him. We talked about the Patriots. What about the newest Patriots receiver, Stephon Diggs? Stephon Diggs has one of 2 ways to go. If the Patriots end up trading for AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs is probably toast. If they don't trade for AJ Brown, He's still Stephon Diggs. Does he have any? Either way, what are your thoughts on jumping in with him? Should he be nervous?
I mean, I don't know if you're gonna be nervous. I think if Stephon Diggs comes into your wide out on that team, he's probably your wide receiver one. Looking at it, I think I wouldn't be nervous. I mean, if I got him on my team, I'm like, well, at least I've got a wide receiver one on my team. I don't know how high he can actually make it as far as like overall wide receivers, but he's been a threat before. Of course, he got injured last year. He's not going to be as good as he has been in the past, of course, but on that team, I think he could slide into that spot and be better than what they had last year. But again, I don't see him really being that effective to begin with. I mean, I'm not really a fan, so I really haven't been a fan of either one of these wide receivers that you brought up. I'm not really expecting a whole lot, so I don't know if I can really be nervous about having Stephon Diggs. Of course, if they bring in AJ Brown, I think that that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt him a lot, of course. But I think right now he's going to be the lead target getter for that team as long as he stays on the field. So I mean, at least that's something.
Like his last year, which was like his crappy year in Buffalo, he had almost 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. I mean, if he's the only guy in town, that's realistic numbers. If they don't have age, I mean, who else are you going to throw to? I mean, it's not unfathomable for. I mean, he'll be 31, 32 at Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving. So it's an interesting one. Okay, two sets of teammates here. Buffalo has never really had other than Stephon Diggs, they got rid of him. So now they don't have a alpha male. They got Shakir, their possession guy with like the best completion percentage in the history of the world. Keon Coleman, who we like, I think will take a step up, and Joshua Palmer, who they signed, who had moments where he looked like he could be a really good receiver, and other times where he just sort of disappeared. Should those guys be nervous, or do you think Buffalo will do what they do and just let Josh Allen be the show and not pay any more receivers or draft a
Well, I
receiver?
don't think they're going to pay any more receivers. I think they're going to Josh
Draft
Allen's
it.
going to he's going to throw for a lot of yards, and it's just which one of those receivers is going to get. I'm not, honest, I'm not really too worried about Josh Palmer. I mean, he's had opportunity in the past. He's shown flashes. Shakir, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know what to think about that guy. I mean, he has opportunity, nice little flex play, but I don't know if he can be like that high ceiling guy. And what's the other one's name? God,
Our boy Keon Coleman.
yeah, Keon Coleman. I mean, he's shown flashes last year. Hopefully, he can take that next step. But I don't know if any of them are going to be like a true number one guy. I think it's going to be more spread out.
Mhm.
Hopefully, Keon Coleman can take that next step and be like that big touchdown guy. But I mean, like that's still room to see. But at the end of the day, I still think Buffalo's going to throw. Josh Allen's going to throw for over 4,000 yards, and those yards have to go somewhere. I mean, I think it's just going to be a little more spread out than it has been.
You think they'll take a? I mean, they got late first. They got late picks because they're a good team. You think they're gonna get another receiver, throw someone else in that room, or you think they're just gonna go with what they got?
I mean, I don't know if they do it in the first round, but I mean, why not? I mean, I'm sure they probably might take a receiver at some point. I mean, that's where I mean they feel like they need a little bit of help there, but I mean, I don't know what they're. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking, but I don't know if it'd be in the first round.
Yeah, a name that pops up that I don't even want to talk about really is Quentin Johnson. We know he can't catch the ball. He had a couple of great games, but we'll see what happens with him on a running team. But here's my last one. It's our favorite wide receiver room of number twos, the Green Bay Packers receiver room, the hot mess express of they're all number twos. Somebody's got to be a one. And then I'm watching mock drafts where players are drafted as a receiver, like some of those top receivers, the three or four of them, somebody popping into Green Bay. So if you're Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, and I'm missing one of them right now. There's a fourth guy that I can't brain
Oh,
for.
Watson,
What? Watson,
Watson.
Christian Watson. Thank you. If you're those four guys, who in that four guys, like if they draft a guy, one or two of these guys isn't even a guy that you're considering rostering. Who falls off the cliff of Reed, Dobbs, Wicks, and Watson if they draft someone in the first or second round?
I think probably your biggest threat is probably Watson because I mean he can't stay on the field. He's always hurt. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they ended up trading Watson. I mean, he's got the most. like the biggest name value out of all of them, and just he doesn't really help that much. He hasn't really helped him that much since he's been drafted. I mean, he's had some good games. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but he's been injured more than he's playing. So I feel like he's the biggest. He has the most trade value. So I wouldn't be surprised they ended up trading him. But those other guys, you just I don't know, you just don't know about any of them. Jaden Reed was hot for a second. Wick shows flashes here and there, and then Dobbs shows flashes here and there. But you really can't trust flashes. I mean, you've got to see something steady out of one of these guys eventually, and it's just going to be like 1 week it's going to be this guy, and 1 week it's going to be that guy. You're not going to be able to rely on any of them, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's a. I think you hit the nail on the head where I was thinking. I mean, it's funny to look like Watson. It looks, if I'm doing my math right, he had the other than Reed. I didn't pull up Reed, but Watson of those, because to me, Jaden Reed seems to be the safest guy on the team because he's their gadget guy. He's not going to be. You're not thinking of him as like being your alpha one. I mean, he had the most receiving yards, obviously, but I mean, Watson and Dobbs were fairly similar in yardage. I was really wrong on Wicks last year, but I think yeah, the Watson trade value, trade a guy who's 25 because wide receiver peak is they say like 27, 28. So you might get some value out of that while you're trying to clear up the room. So okay, those are guys that'll be nervous. I'm sure there's a lot more guys that we're missing that are gonna pee themselves a little bit come Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of this week. JJ Wang, give us your wisdom. I've got about 100% chance of what you're going to talk about.
Oh,
Let's do it.
absolutely. Of course, night one of WrestleMania was last night. It was okay. Wasn't overly impressed. It was average. I think the main event was really, really good. I thought that, of course, that was the highlight of the night. Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. People have been talking about the Paul Heyman thing with Seth Rollins. I've been listening to a lot of that, so people kind of predicted that to happen. But I got a couple. I think that my biggest disappointments from the night were. We'll start with one. I think the crowd was really, really bad.
Mhm.
They just couldn't. I don't know. It just was. They didn't seem like they were very loud. They really couldn't get into any of the matches. Of course, some of the matches really weren't all that great to get
You're
into
bland.
anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of like these huge stadium shows. I think you kind of eliminate the crowd um, doing these like outdoor, big stadiums. There's just so much volume inside, and it just kind of like lets the sound go out a little bit. But yeah, I thought the crowd was kind of crappy, and I think a lot of times the crowd is what kind of makes wrestling good. I mean, if you got like, especially like if you watch the overseas crowds, watching an overseas pay per view or a TV show is just so much better than what they have like here in the states sometimes. And then the second thing, I was disappointed about the ending in the Jey Uso Gunther match. I'm trying to figure out why they had Gunther tap out to a
Yeah.
basic sleeper hold. Makes zero sense. I mean, Gunther's supposed to be a big bad. He's like one of your best heels in wrestling, and you're having him tap out to a sleeper that nobody has tapped out to in probably 25 years. I mean, if you did want to go the sleeper route, I mean, fine, go the sleeper route, but have him go out. I mean, he goes night night. I think
I
that's
thought a
the idea of
guillotine
the
was going to
sleeper,
come.
but tapping out to the sleeper is a horrible. It's not the sleeper isn't a submission move. I mean, it's a choke out, so you're supposed to pass out when you go. And I thought that was just a horrible way to book that. I really don't understand that. You got anything to add?
I was gonna say with the sleeper hold, I thought they were gonna since he's stealing all of Roman Reigns and stuff. I thought they were gonna have him guillotine him out, but
Yeah,
it was just interesting. It's like all of a sudden he's getting just obliterated, then he just flips it 3 moves and it's over. So yeah, I get they want Uso to win. Like that's fine because he's so popular and the revenue from that for a little spout here. I get what they're doing there, but yeah, the show was overall fairly bland. The matches were nothing to get excited about. Like I literally fell asleep a bunch of times because I was exhausted
oh,
anyway. And then the last one you saw, I texted you. I was like, "Yeah," because you know my thoughts on CM Punk. But I'd read about that was going to happen anyway too. But good old Seth Rollins heel, and they'll still sing for him, so that's good.
yeah. So hopefully tonight's a little better. We'll see what happens. Hopefully John Cena can win a title, but we'll see what happens. As always, trust yourself and trust the process.